Good afternoon, students. In this session, let me discuss about oil refinery industry as well as the waste that is originating from this industry. So, as we all know that oil is extracted from the crude oil, that is a different substances like gasoline, naphtha, kerosene, diesel. What we essentially use in our day-to-day life is being extracted from the crude oil, and this crude oil is consists of complex hydrocarbons. So what happens here from the crude oil, what is being extracted from that of your mining from the underground, and this crude oil it will be first subjected to your topping or skimming. So this is a process of distillation where it will be that crude oil will be get distilled and we'll be getting a variety of products because of this distillation, and the lighter products or lighter materials will be at the top of this distillation units, while the heaviest particles will be get settled at the bottom until we get removed. So we could get a straight trend products here, as we show in this flow chart. The straight trend products are gasoline, naphtha, kerosene, etc. Apart from that, this substances, that is your naphtha, it will be subjected to catalytic reforming, where it will be converted into a high octane gasoline is also there. And this light oil, it will be taken to the catalytic cracking, so where your gasoline will be formed. And we will discuss all these things, what is this catalytic reforming, catalytic cracking, all those process in detail in the coming slides. And apart from that, we have vacuum or steam distillation, where you will be getting your gas oil, that is the top crude oil. It will be sent to your thermal cracking or coking, as well as vacuum and steam distillation, where your final gas oil will be get up. So this is your basic refinery operation. We could be able to see the four important operation. One is your topping, another one is your catalytic cracking, and next one is your catalytic reforming, and finally your coking. So we'll discuss this one by one in the coming slides. As we know that first process is your topping, that we used to say that it is done by distillation. So inside the distillation units, the liquids as well as a vapor that is separated from this petroleum components called fractions according to their weight as well as the boiling point. That is, the heavier fractions will be settled at the bottom and lighter fractions will be on the top. That's why the lightest fractions like gasoline and LPG, that is your liquid petroleum gas, it will be get vaporized and it will be raised to the top of the distillation tower, and then it will be condensed back to liquids. See this you could see in the flow chart. From the topping, that is your distillation units, you will get a straight trend products. Why? Because all the lighter fractions will be will be at the top and it will be easily removed. That's why you'll be able to get the gasoline, kerosene, and naphtha, etc. at the top. And after that, as I already said, the gasoline and LPG will be at the top and it can be easily condensed back to the liquids. While the medium weight liquids like kerosene and diesel oil distillates, it will be staying in the middle of the distillation tower. That you could see here. So it will be taken this to the catalytic cracking, and it will be further, it will be taken to the gasoline also. And heavier liquids, that is called as gas oils, it will be separated at the distillation tower, that is in the lower part, while the heaviest one will be with the highest boiling points will be settled at the bottom of the tower. So this is the basic distillation process that is done in your first stage of your topping. So you could see this in the picture also. So the crude oil, when it's once it is been get it will be get heated up. So in the distillation process, you could get a variety of products, as you could see them lighter products like gases as well as gasoline will be get condensed and it will be get removed at the top of this distillation process, while the medium thing, that is your middle of your distillation, you will be getting your kerosene, and your final, that is your the lowest most bottom or the heaviest one, you will be getting of the gas oil. So this is a schematic diagram which shows you what are the different products that is obtained from your distillation process. As we already said, the crude oil is first subjected to fractional distillation. That process is known as topping. So in this flow chart, you should be able to see the crude oil is first subjected to the topping, that is your fractional distillation. As we could see that various, because of fractional distillation, we could get various products here like that is LPG gases and gasoline, kerosene and gas oil. And your second process is your cracking. So what is this cracking is where the heavier substances will be get decomposed into lighter substances, or where it will be get a breakdown into lighter substances, and that process is said to be a cracking. Or we could say that also the longer hydrocarbon chains will be converted to smaller ones with the help of heat and pressure. So this process is called as cracking. So what is the heavier substances here? As we know that gas oil and fuel oil, it will be converted to a lighter products like gasoline, which will be taking place at atmospheric pressure as well as at very high temperature. So this process is your cracking, and this is a very important process in case of your oil refinery, where you get the useful products like gasoline here. And second one is your catalytic cracking. So what is that is if this cracking is done in the presence of catalyst like synthetic silica aluminum, and then it is said to be a catalytic cracking process. So that is what we have shown in this diagram. So after topping, the light oil is subjected to catalytic cracking, where you will be getting your gasoline as well as distillate fuel will be there, and fine, the gas will also be there. It will be get polymerized or alkylate, and it will be taken as a liquefied gas, or high octane materials will be received from this catalytic cracking. So catalytic cracking is with the help of a catalyst, the heavier products will be broken down into lighter products. Next is your catalytic reforming, where this naphtha will be converted into high octane gasoline, and this high octane gasoline is usually we used to say that as reformates, and this process will also be happened in the presence of catalyst. That's why it is said to be catalytic reforming. So this reforming, it will be using a catalyst as well as alkylation. It will rearrange the molecules to produce high value lighter products. The higher the level of refining, more complex the refinery. So this flow chart just will recap. So topping is done, and the catalytic cracking is also there. So you could see the catalytic reforming. So catalytic reforming is a process where we convert the naphtha into high octane products after polymerization and alkylation, that has been depicted here. So this will be taken to polymerization, the gases will be taken to the polymerization and alkylation, where you will get your high octane products. And this high octane gasoline is said to be a reformers, and hence this process is said to be reforming. And since we are using catalyst in this process, it is said to be a catalytic reforming process. And the last stage, the last process is a coking process, where this crude oil distillate will be subjected to coking. That is, what is a coking is? It's a prolonged cracking process where the end product is coke. So that is what we shown here, this other process, and this is your thermal cracking or coking, where the cracking is done for a longer duration, and the final product what we receive from this will be a coke. So we'll see what are the products, what are the other things that has been happening in the refining process. So in refining process, because of this oil distillation as well as cracking, we used to get hydrogen sulfide gas as well as mercaptans as waste, and removal can be done by washing with strong caustic soda solution. Apart from that, absorption of H2S in an alkaline absorber liquid followed by the recovery of H2S in regenerative process could also be done. Why? Because this H2S, as we know, it is a harmful gas. It has to be get absorbed as well as, and it can be recovered and can be used for some other process. And conversion of this mercaptans to less harmful disulfide with the help of lead oxide in caustic soda, together with sulfur as well as sodium hypochlorite or copper chloride, that process is known as sweetening. That could also be done where the conversion of mercaptans will be taken into less harmful disulfides. Apart from that, the conversion of alkyl sulfides and thiophene that has been resulted from this oil refinery into H2S in desulfurization process could also be employed. So these are the basic steps in the refining process, where we convert this hydrogen sulfide gas, mercaptans as well as alkyl sulfides and thiophenes into some of the useful solutions, useful substances or recovery process. So this is a basic refinery operation, that is a wastewater characteristics that is from this refinery operations. As we know, it is a oil industry. So you could see that the wastewater that comes from this is primarily of oil. That is your free oil, you have emulsified oil, H2S and RSH, phenolic compounds, BOD at 5 day at 20 degrees centigrade is also given, and suspended solids is given. So it's all these units are given in terms of milligram per liter. From this you will be able to observe that we have a high amount of free oil as well as emulsified oil in this refinery wastewater. So this will be very tediously affect your streams as well as your sewers when it is get disposed of. And we could see this BOD is nominal, like it is 100 to 300 milligram per liter. Only problem with this refinery operation is that wastewater is that only the free oil as well as the oil that is coming out from this process, it has to be properly removed as well as treated off. So, what is the effects of this wastewater on the stream when we discharge this wastewater with this characteristics, that is with the high of oil as well as phenolic compounds? What happens when we discharge into the stream? Normally, naphthalene, what is present in this wastewater, it will be imports a bad odor to that of the stream, and also it will become toxic at 5 milligram per liter to the aquatic organisms. And petroleum, that is also at 5 milligram per liter, it will import bad taste, and we also normally never consume the water which is comprised of petroleum. And mercaptans, it's very strong as well as it creates unpleasant odor, and it also leads to bad taste to the fish. It will affect the aquatic organisms as well as the flora and the fauna once it is get disposed of into the stream. And very specifically we know that oil film, it will be affects the reaeration of the stream, because the stream is having one of the important quality, that is your self purification is done in the stream, where the stream will be able to recover to its original condition even after the disposal of the waste. So that is a main advantage of disposing this waste into the stream, but their conditions also it differs, depends upon the quality as well as the quantity of waste that has been disposed of. So if in this case the oil film, it will be affecting this reaeration of the stream. Why? Because it will be floating at the top of the stream water, so it will be avoiding the penetration of sunlight or oxygen or air into that of the stream. Therefore it will be affecting that the stream will not be able to get its proper aeration or dissolved oxygen, and eventually it will be leads to that of your aquatic life as well as flora and fauna depletion also, it will be get died off. So that is why this oil film is a very serious effect if we discharge that into that of the stream. And apart from this, the cattle, if they consume such a polluted water, they will also be get affected by the lethal diseases. And normally we also never prefer this oil film stream, that stream with oil film, for any recreational uses like your boating or swimming, all those purposes. So this are the various effects of your wastewater when it is get disposed of into the stream. So how do we go for treating this refinery waste? So as we already see in the characteristics, there is not much BOD here, and we are concerned with the of your oil as well as suspended solids here. So what is the main treatment we have to go here? We have to give is, one is you are a de-oiler. So that is a main treatment where we have to remove the oil before it is subjected to that of your sewer or to that of the disposal by stream. So first we have to do with a de-oiler where the oil will be get removed. Then it will be taken further to gravity oil separator as well as aerator tank. Both these things are done only to remove the oils, because that is the main concern in case of your oil refinery process. So in case of aerated tank, chlorinated copperas will be added and it will be get aerated. So the oil film which will be get it will be get aerated, that will be get removed, and then further it will be taken to the clariflocculator where lime will also be added. So what happens here, the other impurities which is present along with the lime as well as copperas, it will be get settled down as a flocks, that is it will be formed as around flocks and it will be get settled off. So after a specified period of time it will be get clarified. While the clarified liquid or the wastewater is will be taken to the trickling filter, while the other sludge which will be get settled at the bottom, it will be taken to that of your sand drying bed for sludge disposal methods. So that clarified liquid, if it will be taken to your TF is your trickling filter. As there is not much with it of your clogging points with this trickling filter is a treatment which is suggested for this oil refinery. But nowadays we have the other biological advanced treatment methods like membrane units, all those things that could also be employed to remove this wastewater characteristics, so that to make this wastewater into for the proper disposal we'll be able to do it up. And after trickling filter it will be subjected to secondary settling tanks, where it will be get further settled down and all the impurities will be get removed and the final effluent can be get disposed of. See, you could see here what is the possible reuse also in this treatment plant, that is the wastewater that is coming from this, that I mean the after the secondary settling tank it will be get partially recycled to that of the trickling filter, so that the process efficiency will be improved. Why? Because in trickling filter the major processes with the help of microorganisms, which will be able to decompose the substances that is present in this wastewater. So what happens when it is taken to the secondary sedimentation tank, all those things, this when a portion of this wastewater is get recycled, the microorganisms will also be get recycled, which will be helpful for the decomposition of other substances, biological substances in the incoming water in your trickling filter. That means it will be accelerating the process of your trickling filter, as well as it will be improving the efficiency of your trickling filter. So that is the main advantage of recycling any wastewaters inside the treatment plant. So this is your typical flow chart for the treatment of your petroleum refineries waste. So in the next session we will be seeing about some other industry. Thank you guys.